Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 35 of Check the Warrior. Special guest host filling in for Northern Lion, the one, the only, the people's speedrunner, Grand POOBear. What's going on, man?
How is it going? Happy to be here today. Big shoes to fill for Northern Lion, obviously. Big shoes.
You know, you got some big shoes right behind you. I think you're gonna do a great job, man. If things don't work out for me, like just in life, could I be your hype man? I feel like I could do that.
Of course.
All right.
Of course. Absolutely. If I ever get to do my tour again and we come to Michigan, like you're the guy.
Well,
you're definitely the guy.
Here's the thing. If we come to Michigan, I got a little bit of a problem with that. Same. If you
we would definitely come to. Actually, I had one. So I had a date, July. It was going to be mid-July. It was perfect because I was going to do my niece and nephew's graduation party, and my speedrun tour all in one weekend. It was just going to be like great, you know. But obviously that
life comes at you fast. So
COVID happened.
So this podcast is all about going behind the scenes of what you're doing present day, what's working, what's not. There's a lot going on with you. And while Ryan's been gone, while Northern Lion's been gone, I wanted to bring in just a range of people that are doing so many different things, because you do a lot more than just hit the go button on Twitch. There's a lot to what you do, and very different in a lot of different capacities. So I want to focus on that. Before we get into that, though, could you describe your approach to Twitch for someone that's living under a rock and has never heard of who you are and what you do?
I'm Grand POOBear. I mean, I don't know if it's even fair to call me a speedrunner right now, because I technically haven't actually done a speedrun in like 4 months, which is kind of
at all. Like any trial runs, nothing.
No. Yeah, I think early July was the last time that I did. I take it back. I did a show for GDQ in August but the whole point of the show was to like dust off a speedrun you hadn't done in a few years and like see how good you still were.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, it was not very on the two I dusted off. So I guess I did that show in August, and yeah, it was kind of weird because like not having in-person GDQs, like very like for years, like all my life was revolved around like, all right, get a game ready for GDQ, have like a month off to relax, start practicing really hard to get another game ready to possibly be in another GDQ. And now the GDQs aren't in person anymore. I think my drive to be in them has lessened a little bit because it's not an excuse to just go see my friends now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like it had that extra benefit of like, oh, I can use it as a work excuse to go see all my friends. But yeah, so I'm a gamer who specializes, I guess I would say I specialize in like, I really like difficult challenges and hard games and games with my friends. And I don't know, I mean, everyone always says like, you know, we have a nice welcoming community and all that, you know, like I think that's a generic streamer shit, but shiz.
No, you can do it. So here's the one rule on the podcast: you get to be who you are whenever I bring on guests. And this is something we never talk about when we co-op. You swear, dude, that's you. I never want someone to change who they are.
I know. Me. Well, it's funny because I respect that, but at the same time, it's so easy for me not to do that. You run a family-friendly stream, you know what I mean? I don't want, you know, little Sally in 4th grade watching Dan Gheesling's morning stream while she's homesick from school, you know, and hearing this rude Grand POOBear come on there dropping the F-bomb over and over again, and then she goes back and is like,
she's like the guy in the Red Bull hat.
Dan's hanging out with some hooligans, you know, like.
So I want to pivot back to you. So you said you haven't done any speedruns. So say like that's most what you're known for. You don't have to say it, but not necessarily now.
I mean, I would say like not even speedrun. I think I'm mostly known for just like playing really, really hard Mario levels. That's definitely the thing that let me go from like Jamoke streamer to full-time guy.
Okay.
And it's been a good bulk of my content for many years, and will always be a massive part of my content. I think Mario in general, just because I've loved Mario since I was 2 years old, I think it'll always be a good part of my content when there is Mario games or Mario related things that I want to play, for sure.
And we did a really in-depth interview with Grand POOBear on the podcast probably like 6-9 months ago on my podcast, not Check the Warrior. So if you want to get in that, you can check that. But I do want to ask you for context. Do you remember, was there a moment when you're like, hey, there's something to playing Mario? And did you like blow up? Was there like a significant increase, or was it just an increase over time?
There was two big moments. both revolved around the first like few months of Mario Maker 1. Mario Maker 1 was a big stream game, bigger than Mario Maker 2 by far. And it also had was a game that really benefited from months of discovery. You see that like Fortnite used to have that where like every month the meta would change because someone would figure out a new way to build or something like that, and that kept the game very fun and exciting. Whereas Mario Maker had that kind of similar thing, and it really started with I got really addicted to like these really hard levels, specifically by this one player named Panga. And I started playing his levels all over the place, and he made this one called P-Break, and it was so hard, the hardest level that's ever been created, blah 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 blah. And I was the first American streamer to beat that level, and that let people know like, oh, this is a really good player. Like that sent like the waves in the community. Does that make sense? Like other chats would hear about that. Like that's when I started getting talked about in other chats, and that just kept going. And then I picked one level that had only been beaten by one other Japanese player to play, and it ended up taking me 100 hours, this level. And that was the time between P-Break and then beating that next level, where I just played the same level for weeks, for 100 hours playing the same level until I finally beat it. That was the moment where I went from like a 50 viewer guy to like 500 viewers. That was definitely the thing. It was this journey of, oh my God, will this player ever beat this level? Is he good enough? Oh my God, he is good enough. Well, now let's see how good he got after beating that level. And then that's just kind of how it was.
When you were going through that, did you know what was going on? Did you know how important it was for you to push and find a way to beat the level? Or were you just kind of like, hey, let's see where this thing goes?
No, I was very much just with P-Break. P-Break was the first level I beat where I thought like I can never beat this. Like when I first started playing it, I was like, I'll never beat this level. And then when I did beat it, it took me 26 hours. Then when I did beat it, I realized like, oh, I can beat any Mario level. It just might take me a while. I can beat them all, So that kind of changed my perspective a little bit. But as far as like the viewership or anything goes, like for me, I was just trying to do what was really addicting to me and was really, really fun to me at the time. And it was just like I was just obsessed with these hard levels. And it kind of just worked out that it was finally something people wanted to watch, because everything I had been obsessed with before that, nobody wanted to watch me do, or I wasn't good enough to justify watching.
What are some of those, I don't want to call them L's, but like some of those things that you're like, oh, I really like this, but it didn't do well on stream or people didn't enjoy watching?
Love DayZ. Like I love DayZ, but I got into DayZ late. I was in the towards DayZ failing. I loved like Arma 2 and Arma 3 mods. I was very big into Arma 3 Battle Royale, coincidentally. Which was made by Player Unknown, which you guys all know who he is now. He was just a nice little modder back then, nerd like all of us. I was really big into that. I was really big into this game called Altus Life, which is an Arma 3 mod. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of like GTA roleplay.
Yeah.
But there was cops and bad guys, and you could smuggle drugs and have roleplay interactions and things like that. You went to jail. I loved that. It was so much fun, that interaction. Me and a buddy had a racket because I had a buddy who was a cop on it, and he ended up he was a dirty cop. He was role playing a dirty cop, and it was really fun. I had a really, really great time with it. Never caught on,
So that was the kind of stuff you did, and then
a lot of that H1Z1, a lot of BR games. Yeah, and I still love them.
When you did that, were you pivoting because you were like, hey, this isn't working and no one's watching, or just you kind of wore out its welcome?
No, I was very much not concerned with the fact that no one was watching, in that I knew the people that did watch really did love me. And I think the other thing was like I never really planned on it becoming my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like streaming was definitely just like a very, very much a hobby and something fun for me. And I've always been like someone that's always had a side hustle. Like I always wanted to have like my main job and then something else going on, something else that I could work towards that had potential, no matter what it was. T-shirt companies, lots of failed side hustles before this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. But always something that like I've always thought like have your main job and then have something you're working on that has blow up potential. So that was just like a side gig for me, and I was working my main jobs and doing my things normally, and it just was something. It was like not even that I didn't like expect it to blow up. Like I kind of knew it wouldn't ever blow up ever. Like I kind of like regulated myself. Like this is just a fun hobby. I've got a few people that really enjoy watching me, and they'll be there, and that's cool. And I have a good time doing it. So we'll just continue to do it. And then one day that I guess that changed. You know, one day it felt like one day, honestly, it just kind of like started to pivot where it started to shift where it became like I was starting to gain popularity and gaining more donations. At the time, you didn't have an affiliate program, so you couldn't get subs or anything. So it was, you know, it was just like I was like, oh my God, I might actually be able to get partnership. And then I did, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I might actually have some subs." And then I did, and then a year later, it was like a year later, it got down to it. It was like I remember I was getting off to go to work that night, and my job that night would pay me $225. I was an announcer. I get paid flat fees. But my job that night would pay me $225, and I remember that I had made the thing was I had made about 300 on stream between subs and everything, and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm losing money leaving right now." You know what I mean? I was having like one of those hype moments, you know, where you got donations coming in and subs coming in there. The chat was just having a moment, but I had to leave. I remember just thinking, I was like, no, I'm losing money. So I walked in that night. I talked to the DJ who was there that night about it. Me and him had been he had been following, like he had been watching me while he put his sets together for the night, which was really
On
funny. Like we had
Twitch?
just become
He was
yeah,
watching.
yeah.
Okay.
We had just, you know, like you work with the same DJs as an
Yeah.
announcer, like you become friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Man, it was so wild." And I remember I told him, I was like, "Dude, I think I gotta quit my job. I think I gotta quit this job. I think I gotta try that full time." And he was like, "Man, you might as well, because you can always come back and announce shit at clubs. Like, you know what I mean? How many opportunities are you gonna get that?" And the next day I went to my wife and I told her, and then it actually worked out really convenient because the casino I was working for came back to me and they were like, "Hey, we're actually gonna not have any consistent work till the New Year's." So it was like
He's
the
like,
serendipitous thing. And I was like, "Cool, that's 2 months. That's a 2-month where I know I can go back if I want." And I didn't want, you know, but 2 months later, it was paying more than anything I ever done in my life, so
so in terms
I was
of
done.
like people now, and do you have a take on people now that go full time streaming without having a side job and they kind of shove all their eggs in a basket? Do you have any take on that? Is that something you don't care about, or you just have no thought on?
I mean, everyone's situation is unique and different. Like I know people that like, you know, they still live with their parents, like, you know, like they're not if you're not moving out anytime soon, like you can probably stream for less money, you know what I mean? I think everyone's situation is so unique and different, but I think that I think a lot of people get into streaming thinking like I just need to turn on my stream and people are gonna start watching, and it's it's harder than Hollywood now. Honestly, I think it's probably easier to land a major cable show, a somewhat lead on a major cable show now than it is to become a 2,000 viewer streamer,
That's a
1,000
hot,
viewer
that's
streamer,
a hot
500 viewer
take,
streamer.
but there's a ton of competition on Twitch, and the barrier to entry is like literally almost zero. I mean, you have to have some
Yeah,
equipment, but not anything crazy.
it's so low. So you're thinking about, you know what I mean? You're thinking about, like, let's say on Twitch, like, let's say you're the greatest player ever at the biggest game in the world, and you're super good looking and super funny. You could be all these things. You could have great production. You could have all of those things and still never get discovered, never have that right moment, never get that right raid, never get that right clip to go viral, which gives you the which pushes people to your stream. You know what I mean? You can have all these things and for some reason you just get unlucky, you know, and you can miss out. You know what I mean? Not to say that you need to be the best gamer on Twitch, because I don't think you need to be the best. I don't think you need to be the funniest. I certainly don't think you need the best production to be successful on Twitch. You see people all over the place with shoddy production that are great, you know? So
What do you think you
um
need to do well on Twitch in such a competitive environment, in your
I
opinion?
think I think you need something unique. Like you talk about it, the mythical it, you know what I mean? I think you need whatever it is. And I don't even know if I know what my it is, you know, but you got to have some sort of it. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, I think I think that you see that with any show or anything. You know what I mean? So there's usually someone that will stand out even amongst a group of talented people. You know, like even with NSYNC, they're 5 incredibly talented guys, but Justin Timberlake was the it guy. You know what I mean? Not to say Lance Bass
I
wasn't
would say,
great.
Lance, I love you,
JC
man.
Chasez is amazing. You know what I mean? JC Chasez is amazing. But you know, like it is just like there has to be, I don't know, there has to be something unique. You have to be doing something unique. I don't think that just showing up and playing games is necessarily enough. I think something that I'm really, really, really big on, like myself, is journeys. I very much like to create a journey for my viewers, and I like to explain to them, like, this is the beginning of a journey. Here is a goal. I'm not going to stop until I get the goal. There's going to be growing pains to get this goal. Sometimes this goal is going to seem unattainable, but we aren't going to give up. We will do it.
What's
That really works.
what's an example of that you've done in the past? Like a couple that come to to mind.
Like 100-hour level, like 100-hour level. Like I picked this level. I'm going to beat it. I could easily stop at 20 hours and said, fuck this, I'll play other hard levels. You know what I mean? I could have easily Splunky 2 right now. Oh wait, this is gonna be a spoiler.
Yeah, don't spoil
Okay, I can't tell you.
But like,
I can't tell you.
But you're trying to figure something out in Splunky.
Yes. There's a very long-term goal. Another player achieved it yesterday. There's a very long-term goal that I want to achieve, and everyone knows it's gonna take me a long time. You know what I mean? Because I don't have 10 straight years of Splunky 1 like a lot of these guys go, you know what I mean? And it's definitely a game where the more you play it, the better you get.
I saw the tweet, but I don't want to talk about it. It's okay though. It's all right though.
No. All right.
So one of the things that's different for you, or that contributes to your it factor, is like you're here for a ride.
I think that when people come to my stream, they understand that I'm never just playing a game. Like there's always going to be a larger purpose behind that game. Like we're going to try and get good or discover something or overcome an obstacle at some point in time. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's just as simple as like, here's our casual playthrough of Dark Souls, or you know what I mean? But I'm never gonna give up, I guess. Is that maybe that's my it thing. It's like there's no failure is just not an option. I will outwork failure.
How do you communicate that to your viewers? Like if someone tunes in late and you're starting a brand new game, how do they know? Like how do you communicate to that hey, this is what we're doing and this is the goal?
Well, I think like for me, like goals, what do I want to say? Like goals become apparent as you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point I earned so much credit with specifically like Mario Maker stuff, you know what I mean? Specifically always doing, never giving up on anything Mario Maker has made people, they know that if I set my mind to it, I'm going to do it and I'm going to achieve it type thing.
Did you ever play that viral Mario level with all the fireball arms?
The fire bars?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it took me like 8 minutes to beat.
Really?
It's like, yeah, it was so easy. That was one of those levels where literally I just needed to memorize where to jump. It wasn't like it didn't involve hard. It didn't involve like skill or reaction, if that makes sense. I didn't have to do any sort of like complicated maneuver. It was literally just jumping and running and jumping and just being in the right spot. So all I had to do was I watched the video a few times and was like, all right, so here I need to be in this spot. And then if I died there, I'd be like, okay, so no, I need to be in this spot right there, and it was pretty easy. Yeah. I mean, that one was pretty easy, but that's not, that's also because I have hundreds and thousands of hours of Mario.
And you can see that. Like you can look at it and be okay, this is what I need to do. Someone like me is like,
exactly.
Where do you start? Like I gotta run and jump over all this stuff. Okay.
And that's why that one went viral, because it was so visually daunting. You know what I mean? But when you, as a Mario player, when I'm breaking it down, like you're seeing 100 fire bars, and I'm only seeing the 2 that can get me. The other ones don't even matter to me. You know what I mean? They're not even they are not even in my plane of sight. You know, so it just makes it a lot easier.
So for you,
that comes with all experience for anything. I'm sure. Like, I mean, it's like when you hear NBA players say the hoops is it's as big as a hula hoop. You know what I mean? I think that's.
So for you, you know, you haven't speed run since July, but for someone that, you know, you have this background
I'll always be a speedrunner.
With Mario, how do you, what's your take and how do you approach and execute on, like, not, because you do a lot and you do it well. You don't just play Mario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you, in your head, how do you separate that? How do you put on a show? Be like, hey, here's how I walk this line, or do you not even worry about it?
I don't. It's not that I don't worry about it. I practice. I definitely like games that I'm concerned about getting good on. I practice. Like Fall Guys, I practice. And more than practice though, I try to gain knowledge. Because one thing I've learned, especially early in Mario, when I would practice things the wrong way, is it's a lot harder when you learn something in a good way, but there's a great way out there to unlearn that good way. You know, and so I definitely like make sure I look at what the meta is of certain games, and are there tips and tricks that can make things a lot easier on me after I've already passed those parts, because I don't want to be spoiled for anything. But once I'm past those parts, I do my research and I learn, and I learn, you know, like. Even like something like Dark Souls. Once I beat Dark Souls, I started to learn like, all right, well, how many frames do I have on a roll? How many frames attack is this guy giving? So I could roll as late as this spot or as early as this spot on that attack. You know what I mean? And that's in it. Once you've done the research and you look at that knowledge, like that just somehow like seeps into your brain. You know what I mean? So you kind of just like start absorbing those things, and then you also get lucky that so much stuff starts to carry over, you know, like now when there's all the Dark Soul knockoffs now, you know what I mean? Like when I played the Star Wars game, the Dark Soul knockoff, it's really easy. The same idea, you know what I mean? It's
Did you like it? Did you like Fallen Order?
I liked Fallen Order. Yeah, I liked Fallen Order. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it. Does that make? Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Are you a Star Wars guy or not a Star Wars guy?
Super huge Star Wars.
Okay.
Nerd. My son's middle name is a Star Wars character. Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd.
Can I ask?
I'll tell you later.
I got you.
I'll stream. I gotta keep something.
I get it. So you brought up not spoiling. What's your take in your show and your community on spoilers? Is it different from game to game? How do you communicate that? And then
we're a very strict no backseat, no spoilers, because that's the journey. That's the journey. If you tell me how to do it, my journey is gone. You know what I mean? You are now my Sherpa at that point, and my journey has dissipated. So for me, I'm very stubborn and need to do it myself. And I don't care if I do it the wrong way or I'm doing it a dumb way. I need to do it myself. And that's not to say I've never, ever broken down and been like, chat, hook me up. And that's not to say that after I've done it once and I have to do it the second time, I'll be like, chat, I know there's a strat here. Look it up. That of course that happens. But generally, I'm someone that I want to do it myself the first time, and I don't want any hand holding through that.
So obviously, I'm guessing your directives to your moderators are like, hey, like delete anything you see as spoilers. When one gets through, let me ask this: has any gotten through to you on Splunky 2 through your chat?
Splunky 2, no, because I don't know about you, but like I don't even look at chat when I'm playing.
It's hard. That's a hard game.
I'm so focused.
Out of all the games, it's so hard to look at chat.
It's so hard to look at chat. There's no downtime in it. You're always, you've obviously played enough Splunky at this point that you know that anything can happen. You know what I mean? A bomb can come flying from halfway across the room.
Your partner could whip you in to the lava when you're
how
fighting.
How did I know that this was going to get brought up in this thing? I knew it was going to get brought up. Yes, that is an example of things that could happen. Dude, I cannot wait till Splunky 2 online is ready, because I'm going to whip you into all sorts of shit now.
So Okay, so let me ask
Yeah.
this: when a spoiler leaks through to you, and you're
Depends
not
what it is.
like, did any spoilers leak to you on Hollow Knight? Well, let me ask you,
I'm sure they did, but I didn't know enough about Hollow Knight to know that it was a spoiler.
in your mind, what's
Yeah.
the biggest spoil that's leaked to you that garnered, or how did you react to it? And first, tell me the game so we can see if we should spoil the game or not for other people.
I got the biggest one is probably this. I got a big story spoiler during Spider-Man.
Okay, and
The very end of Spider-Man, a very gut-wrenching scene.
Okay.
The one good thing about it was I didn't believe it.
Okay.
I was like, no, they wouldn't do that. That's ridiculous. I didn't believe it. So it still hit me at the end anyway.
When you saw that, did you acknowledge it? Did you just ignore it? Did you like call the person out? How do you handle when that happens during your show? How do you handle it?
Oh, we shame them deeply and ban them. And no, I mean,
Oh.
I've got great mod teams, and my mods generally hit the spoilers before I could even go to see them.
Mhm.
If it's like a gameplay spoiler where I'm like struggling in a section and they're like, all you gotta do is do this right here. All you gotta do is do this. I'll specifically not do it that way. I'll be like, oh, really? Well, guess what? I'm never doing it that way now. And I'll just make it harder on myself just to spite them. Things like that. I mean, of course they do happen, but generally I've been extremely lucky. Yeah.
Okay. When you're streaming, is there anything for you that's like, this is what is the best thing in your opinion that you get from streaming? I don't want to say you get, but like makes you feel the best when you stream.
Outside of money?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think there's so many things. I mean, you get kind of, you get a certain amount of love, and responsibility to people's days,
What do you mean by
which I really appreciate.
responsibility?
Well, you're like, I stream 6 days a week, right? And I mean, you get this, like, you have a schedule. If you're not on that schedule or that time where people think you're on, like, a lot of these people plan their day around watching my stream. That's something I've found out and realized. Like, their whole day is planned around when I'm going to play video games.
When did you realize that? When did you realize that?
I don't know. A few years ago. Yeah.
How did
2 or 3 years ago. I'd already been going full time for a while.
Did that make you like? Do you remember that? Did you that like? So you talk about feeling a sense of responsibility. What does that mean to you that someone's planning their day around watching you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's humbling. It's a very humbling thing, and it's a reminder for me that I need to be on, because some days you wake up and you're not feeling it, and certainly some days that'll lean into your stream. You know what I mean? You're not having the great day. You're had a bad interaction that morning. Your world leader tweeted something ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? Something puts you in a funk for whatever that day is. But you need to remember that there's 100, 50, 10, 50, 100, 500 people that are out there that are going to rely on you to take them out of that same funk. And you need to be able to either play your best or be your best, or be able to let yourself get out of that funk and be able to kind of lose yourself in chat and lose yourself in the good time everyone's having. And that's I think that's what I mean by responsibility. Like, I have a responsibility to make sure that these people get their entertainment, and make sure it's good and make sure it's worth their time every single day, 6 times a week, because they're giving me a life, a house, the ability to pay for my car, my child. I wake up whenever the F I want because I have this job. I'm so lucky. Like, to be able to not make video games, be able to play video games for a living is such a wild concept and so insane and so crazy to me still, that I am so grateful and lucky for it. And there's no other job where I could there's literally not another job in the world where I could just make the money I'm making now, which and it is not even about that, but like, that's the real truth of it. There's no other career where I could go. I'm a college dropout who spent his 20s snowboarding and now his 30s playing video games. I actual career skills to give to the world. I have nothing.
I
You know what I mean?
I think a
Like,
lot of people would debate that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I mean, like,
for,
yeah, sure. I mean, like, I'm
I
sure
would
there's things
debate
I can
that.
do, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's
I
things I
know
can do, but
in the
like,
traditional sense, maybe.
but well, yeah, but
Yeah.
now that
What
I
is?
have this, now that I have this experience and this clout or whatever you want to call it, like now there's tons of stuff where I'd have opportunities. But before this, like it didn't exist. You know what I mean? And so I'm just truly internally grateful for it, and so I understand the responsibility that that carries with me, and I don't want to, you know, maybe somebody's watching me, maybe they've been a sub for a while, but they only get to watch once a month. They only get to watch one Wednesday a month. Maybe they work on an oil rig, or they work overseas, or they, you know, or they're in the military. And this is just their one time where they're home and they get to watch me. And it's something they've been looking to do for so long, you know what I mean? And I said I would be on. I need to be on. And I said we're gonna do this. I need to do that. And I need to give them a show. Not to say that every show is my best show. Of course, not every show is my best show, but I need to give them a show that is somewhat to the point of quality that they come to expect. You know what I mean? And whether that's through gameplay sometimes, or comedy sometimes, or interactions with friends sometimes, or whatever that comes down to, or all those three things combined, I need to make sure that happens. Yeah.
It's when you were explaining that, it just seemed like you had a very big air of like gratefulness. Like it's not. This isn't
Oh
something that
yeah.
you take for granted. We're like, oh yeah, I just
No.
get to go live and
Hell no.
which is
No. I'm so lucky, and I understand how lucky I am, because I also understand how hard this is. I understand how hard it is to, you know, there's, was it like 86 billion hours of Twitch streamed every month? Like it's some insane number, you know what I mean? It's like just a ridiculous, insane number. And I totally understand the how lucky I am to be one of the top 100 guys by sub count. Like I am so incredibly lucky by that. You know what I mean? And I don't, and beyond that, like I see a lot of these other people on Twitch, like someone like the Sushi Dragon, who is, I don't know, are you familiar with Sushi
yeah,
Dragon?
dances and has all like the effects and yeah.
Dude, he's a, like, that guy to me is, he's such a genius, and he's so forward thinking, and he's got all this tech, and he builds it himself, and like this is a human who is so much more talented than I am. Like I literally watch his stream and just think like I could never do what he does. But I know he could do what I do. I know if he quit all this and sat down and just dedicated his life to Mario, he could do what I do. You know what I mean? And so I understand how lucky and unique of a situation I am to have such a robust, committed community when there's so many incredibly talented people out there on Twitch, on TV, on anywhere else where you could spend your entertainment dollars. You know what I mean? In ballets, in movies, like there's just so many other places to spend your entertainment money, or more than your money, your time, your entertainment time. You know what I mean? Your actual free time. That it blows my mind that people will, you know, watch me kill a guy in a cave over and over and over again. 6 hours a day.
So
Yeah.
So I want to pivot for half a second because you brought it up, and we can go as far on this or not as far as you want. But so you stream 6 days a week, and recently, you know, you're a dad, right? So and a husband and a full-time streamer, and you have other side things we're going to talk about. You have all this stuff going on. So for you, how do you manage that? You know, like how do you shuffle your priorities? And as a dad, are there times when you're like, hey, I could stream right now, or I could, you know, hang out with my son? Like talk us through that, like how you physically go about maneuvering that.
It's hard. I would say it's definitely hard. There's what do I want to say? Like,
because your son is 2,
there's
1.5. How old's your son? He's
one and a half. He
okay.
turns 2 in January. Yeah. There's never enough time in the day for everything. Like that's one thing me and my wife always joke about right now is the joke is right now, I like right now today I have more money than time, which is bad. And one thing we've tried to do lately is spend our money to get more time.
In what
whatever
way?
that may be.
Tell me what that means.
So like we have someone come clean our house now once a month. You know, it's not a huge thing. A lot of people do that, right? And it's something that we never thought we needed to do because I work at home, my wife works at home, you know what I mean? Like we're both home all the time, but that frees up, you know, 6 hours a month essentially for us to just hang out with each other, you know what I mean? And it's that time, that 6 hours we get is worth much more to us than the cash we've lost in doing it the other way. And so things like that are very important. I always take Sundays, every Sunday, no matter what. Sunday, if there is like an event or something on Sunday, I'll take Saturday. But guaranteed one day a week is it's family day. Like we're hanging out as a family. It doesn't matter what game's out, doesn't matter what I'm doing. That one weekend day is dedicated to just us kicking it.
Do you work at all on that day? Like, do you sneak in like, oh, I can do that, let's post or
I mean,
anything like that?
I'd love to say I never do, but like especially with like sometimes, you know, especially like Red Bull stuff, like it's very time sensitive or things like that. So I wish I'd say I never sneak in. Of course we all do. I know you're like me where you're kind of a workaholic. Like I'm definitely kind of a workaholic.
Mhm.
I definitely am someone that thinks if I'm not progressing, I'm falling behind, you know, which is not always the case. Um and I think getting out of that mindset is something else that I've really worked on this year of all right, well, I think streamers have this mindset. All right, well, I didn't stream today, but I sat around and played video games. That's a net loss money-wise. You know, a lot of streamers have that mindset. But that's not true at all. You know what I mean? You gave yourself a mental break. You had a fun time with your friends or your or somebody else. You know what I mean? That's not true at all. You didn't lose anything in that day. You know what I mean? This it's also really hard too because there's always streamers that are there's always streamers that are gonna outwork you. There's these guys that that'll do 24 hours every week, man. You know what I mean? Like so you're always gonna be able like if you're always comparing yourself to one guy or something, like there's just always gonna be someone that's willing to put in or seemingly putting in more work than you. That's something that I've tried to be better about. I actually have a practice station downstairs so I can practice. Like if I do like let's say I do need to get practice in or something in the afternoon, I can practice while my wife watches Grays or whatever shitty show she's rewatching at the time. You know, like things like that. Just trying to make it do things where she's involved in it. You know what I mean? Like I have things where I'm like, hey, would you like to help me with this, wife? You know what I mean? Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't.
Well, I was gonna bring her up because
Yeah,
I know something she's involved in, but I want to ask you one more
yeah.
thing before we talk about that. Do you ever like has there ever been a day? So you have a strict schedule Monday through Saturday or Monday, you know?
Mm.
Is there ever a day where you just pull the ripcord and be like, hey, I want to be with my family today, or how do you
Oh yeah,
navigate that? And then how do you
yeah,
communicate that? And then
yeah.
also to make it more, how do you internally be like okay with it?
Um, it's gotten easier. It's gotten a lot easier now. 2 years ago, I would feel like I would take a day off, and it would take me, you know, it would take me a whole week to make up the subs that I lost from one day. And now that I'm getting into, you know, I've been partner for like 5 years now. A lot of my subs have been there for 3, 4 years. They're not going away because of one day or 2 days or a week. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? They're riding with me forever. You know, I think usually I feel like after people have subbed for about 5 years, they're pretty much going to street. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere. You know, like they're hanging out. They're in it for the ride. They want to see how this ends. You know, um, so I think like that relaxation has had it. I think the having offloading my YouTube work to an editor, so I know that even if I'm not working, I know I'm still getting a video that day up.
Talk to me about
Um,
that. What does that mean?
and that's a big thing. That's a big thing for a lot of people because you're paying someone to do work you could do yourself, right? You know, and I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to do, especially creators, because you're giving some of your creative image to someone else. You're trusting them with it. You're trusting that they're not going to mess it up. And they will. Like, of course, they're going to do stuff you don't like or make edits that you aren't as fond of, or you would have done something different, or you had something in your mind, you know what I mean? And they can't read your mind, you know? Um, so you know, that's all helped with that like mentality.
I want
Like
to.
having the editor, yeah,
I
having the
want.
editor is huge.
That's what I'm talking about. So you're like, at what point when you're like, well, we won't even get to that. When you went to hire an editor, what is your daily interaction, weekly interaction with your editor? So I know we were playing a game one time. You're like, hey, I switched over editors. But like, if you see something you don't like, how much interaction do you have with them? Because your YouTube channel does very well. And
yeah, it does pretty good.
And you're telling me for the most part, you're pretty hands off.
I'm probably the most hands-off creator out there with my channel.
Okay.
I think for two reasons. One is the number one main reason is I want my time to be free. I want it, you know what I mean? I want to play the games, and the more I can get myself to just playing the games, the happier I'm going to be.
Just creating the content.
Just creating the content, the happier I'm going to be, and the more it becomes secondary income, if that makes sense. You hear a lot of people talk about secondary, like my YouTube's kind of like a rental property for me in some ways. You know what I mean? I have my YouTube editor as my landlord in that situation, and he watches things for me and he fixes the sync for me, and that, you know, to make that analogy keep going.
What are your directives to him though, or
Yeah.
her, in terms of like, hey, you take the stream and then you say, hey, this is the clip, or
Yeah.
what do you physically do to tell your editor?
If there is, so we have a list of series. We have a list of series that I want, or he thinks will have good potential, or if either one of us come up with an idea for a series, you know, we'll do that. You
What
know,
would be
like
an
right
example?
now.
Yeah, what are some of those series?
Right now, Splunky series, because I'm playing a lot of Splunky. It's pretty much the only stream content we've had for the last month, so he's got to use it. We've got to make Splunky series. So, the first part of the series was beating Tiamat. The second part of the series is discovering secrets. You beat Tiamat. You beat Tiamat.
No, the second part I was taking it off.
Yeah. No, discovering secrets. The third part of the series would be beating whatever boss comes after Tiamat, which I hope you get done very, very, very soon.
Okay, I'm not there yet. But so when you say, okay, the Spelunky series, what does your editor physically do? Like
so literally, I play the game. Right?
On Twitch, stream it on Twitch.
On Twitch. I stream it on Twitch. He downloads it. He downloads the video from Twitch.
From Twitch, okay.
Labels it, right? He labels it. Make sure it's nice and good, so he can come back to it when he wants, because most likely, like, our series are nowhere near chronological. Like, we have a 100-man Mario series right now where all my footage is from June and July. We have a Hollow Knight series where all my footage is from March. We have a ROM hack series where all my footage is from this past month. We have Spelunky and Fall Guys, which my footage is from like right now. You know, like that footage happens like this week. So he has to kind of keep it organized. You know what I mean? There's also the situation where, like, all right, when Fall Guys updates, all the footage from before is worthless. That's all gone. That's all garbage now. You know what I mean? We can't use that footage anymore. Yeah. So he has to be aware of those things. And if there's anything really great in that earlier footage, he needs to make sure to get it out before then. So we make sure that we keep track of, like, all right, when is this footage? What footage is evergreen? What footage is not evergreen? And we're going to have to get rid of, you know, eventually. How do we clean that out? And we keep track of that. And yeah, and other than that, we have kind of basis of, like, so in Mario, with Mario Maker, like, part of the appeal of Mario Maker is seeing in the level. How does the level look? You know what I mean? So in Mario Maker, we're going to show more gameplay than we would in, say, you know, a Fall Guys video. You know what I mean? Because Fall Guys video, you don't need to see me play Rollout 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? We've seen it once. Like, there's the comedy of it. We don't need to do it. Whereas in Mario Maker, you might need to see me play through a whole level with no cuts. You know, so we kind of discuss how should each of these series look. After we put out an episode or two, like Among Us, we were at first with Among Us, we were like, well, let's not show the games where I get killed. Like, let's show me up to getting killed. That's funny, but then let's move on to the next game. Well, people were like, no, I want to see how that game ended. I want to know how those people were. So we adjusted into, all right, well, let's just kind of give a quick rundown of those games now, and we'll keep, you know, keep it sexy for me. Do we want to take other people's perspectives? If we're playing with a friend, do we want to take other people's perspective in this? Some games we absolutely should. Some games we absolutely shouldn't. You know, some games, well, if we did take other people's perspective, is that going to take from their content? You know, like we want to be aware of that. Is that going to add to their content? Is that going to take away from their content? Things like that are all things we talk about. But once we kind of have those bases, and that usually happens within 1 or 2 episodes of a series, I let him do his thing, and I let him pick the schedule. If there's something I need to adjust, I'll adjust. And I kind of let him do his thing on that. And it's been so good that now I've offloaded things like TikTok videos to another editor. I have another editor that's doing like social bumps for me. And she's awesome too. She's incredible, amazing. And then I have this girl Moni, who's worked with my company Warp World forever. She's helping me out with just like getting social media strategies, keeping me organized on meetings, because I was chronically double scheduling meetings lately. Like I'm horrible with it. Like I'd never had a calendar system. So like she's like hooked, you know, we've gotten a whole organization process going and all these other things, and just kind of, you know, realizing what I'm good at and what I'm not, and faking what I'm not until I can afford to have someone help me.
So for YouTube, what does your editor's output look like per day or per week? Like, is it one video a day? Is it one every couple days? What does your YouTube audience expect?
We do 1 video a day, which is an insane hard pace, I would say, and it's very difficult.
Edited down, like how long is a Splunky video roughly, depending on what's going on?
Splunkies are probably easier edits for him, because what we do with Splunky is we take like my best run of the day,
okay,
or best run of a couple days. You know what I mean? Here's this run where I discovered a whole bunch, and we'll take that run, that one single run, and we'll basically kind of put it in more or less unedited, because Splunky plays really good unedited. And then at the end, we just death montage. You know, just like here's all the stupid deaths that happened that day. You know what I mean? And that's worked, and it's worked really good for us actually, so far for that particular series.
What would be something that's highly edited? What series is highly edited for you?
Fall Guys is a highly edited.
What does that look like?
Fall Guys is going to be a lot of like one-liners, a lot of like quick cuts, you know, where you move forward 3 or 4 seconds to get to me talking more. A lot of the personality carries that gameplay, for sure, especially when there's not a new, you know, something new game. Like season 2's a little bit easier right now, because we can show the entire game.
Yeah.
Show all the new stuff. But when it's stuff that you've kind of seen before, and you know, you got to kind of lean it more on your personality or the victories and things like that. So that's definitely going to be heavier edited. The hard Mario levels are probably the hardest ones to do, because you basically have to pack in. Some of these levels take me like 3 or 4 hours to beat, and you can really only make, like for YouTube, you can really only make, like, no matter how long the level took me to beat, it can really only be about 7 to 8 minutes on YouTube, regardless of what happened. So sometimes you have like this 3-hour video, but right in the middle of it, like hour 2, we have this like 45-minute hilarious conversation. How do you pick all that conversation? How do you show the entire level, all the progress, and boil all down into 8 minutes? And then you have to put 3 more levels on top of it to make it a video that's long enough for YouTube's algorithm. You know what I mean?
And then
those are the hardest ones.
Is this editor watching your shows? Because this editor has to kind of know what to keep and what not to keep, because you're not necessarily taking notes for him.
He's watching my shows, but I always make fun of him when he's in chat. I'm like, yo, you motherfucker, your hand better be on that final. No. The way I do it is, I don't care if you work 1 day a week, or I don't care if you could work 1 24-hour day, you could work 3 4-hour days, you could work 5 70. I don't care what he does. The job has a base salary. It has a percentage based on what the YouTube does to incentivize him. You know what I mean? That's an incentive, for 2 reasons. One, it keeps him motivated to do well. 2, it also, like, the fact of the matter is, if the video does do well, he's getting paid, benefit from that. Yeah. He should benefit from that, right? You know what I mean? He should gain something from that. If he made a really awesome video that went viral, he should get something for that. You know what I mean? So it works on both. It's like a dual win on that. And I will say, I know how much a lot of other content creators are paying, and I'm definitely on the significantly higher side.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you on blast, but I want to talk to you off because like just stuff you're saying now, I'm like, it makes sense what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know,
it makes sense, and I'm still getting a percentage of the YouTube, but my bandwidth on it is super low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it becomes a secondary income source for me.
And then so how does if you're not giving the editor notes, right? And you have like a 3-hour Mario Maker. How do are they watching? They're speed watching it? Do you see like does he hit you up in Discord and be like, what do I do?
Usually like the way I know most editors work is they edit with the video at 2 times. So they're watching the video at 2 times speed. There's definitely, I also have like a channel in my Discord for like clips. So chat will post clips in there, and he knows if something is posted in there, it's probably good, probably gonna want to make the video. So he'll keep those clips. He also knows that like we also have like a clip submission form that runs on chat. He has access to that, so he always has stuff for that.
What is clip submission form? What is that?
Like, it's literally like, oh, you have a clip and you think it's really funny. Like, we have a little spot, like a little timer in our chat runs every 15 minutes, and it's like, oh, you have a funny clip, submit it here, and then Grand POOBear, maybe he'll use it on his socials. And if I use your clip on on my socials, I credit you for it. You know what I mean? I'll like, hey, shout out to so and so for getting this clip of me. And you know, usually that's like, you know, it's win-win for everyone. You know, you get a little shout out for something you were doing anyway. You know, you already made the clip, you're already sharing it anyway. Like, why not?
I mean, if I clipped one of yours and I saw it in the video, I'd be like, oh, like I get fired up about it. Like, use mine, yeah.
Exactly. That's really fun. And it just helps take down the time and helps kind of streamline the, you know, the finding clips for TikTok and the finding clips for Instagram and the finding clips for YouTube thing. And it helps make that editing time. And that's something that we're all really aware of because I'm making so much content. You know, we make, you know, 50 hours of content every week. We need to figure out ways to streamline how we regurgitate it to the world.
Yeah. No. So how did you, because I know you've had multiple editors. How do you go about finding your editor? Because clearly they're very talented. And
the first one, I literally, the first one I found, and he was my editor for a long time, a very, very long, 3.5 years. My channel would not be where it is without him today. What I did was I had about 10,000 subs and I was putting out videos, and I literally just said on stream one day, I was like, hey, if anyone wants to be my editor, I will pay you 40% of what my channel makes. And you can edit all my videos. Yeah, you can edit all my videos. Well, at the time, 40% was like $400. You know, it was nothing. Now 40% is a lot more than that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like at the same time to that, like 40% is a lot. But on the other end, like I'm making 60% for doing nothing. And before I was making 100% of a much smaller number. You know what I mean?
No, but
like you're making, and that's something I think like people need to remember is that owning 50% of something that makes $1 million is much better than owning 100% of something that makes 100,000. You know, and it's a hard concept to get with.
Because you're like, I could if it's something, if there's something you can do, but it costs you time. Like it's a different concept to like be able to wrap your head around.
It is a very hard concept, and it is very, very difficult to do. And you know, and to his credit, like that editor, he was like, yo, I'm gonna make this a full-time job for me. You know what I mean? And he did.
The 3.5, he took it. The 3.5 year guy.
I had him for 3.5 years, and it was great. We had a really good relationship. It just got to the point where I think you get lazy and stagnant. I'm not saying he was lazy. I think maybe I was lazy. Maybe I struggled with talking with him because it became you know, it became a thing where I was invested in his family and stuff. It became harder to do business. You know, business became harder as it went on, as we became closer, more relationship, and as the job needed to become more professional. You know what I mean?
I
It
get it.
needed
It's
to
like a
morph.
close friend,
Yeah,
and you're like, hey, are you gonna tell your close friend that, hey, like this isn't getting it done, or yeah,
exactly, exactly. It just got to the point where there were a lot of things happening over and over again. You know what I mean? Things that I would say like the same mistake would happen 3, 4 times. You know what I mean? And it just got to the point where I wanted it. It also was a thing where like, if you only date your high school girlfriend, you're always gonna wonder what someone else is like, right? You know what I mean? So, it was also that too, and I will say there are, of course, and to his credit, and we still talk from time to time. He's working for another Mario guy now, and we still talk from time to time, and to his credit, like, he was super cool about it, super professional about it. I think he's great, and of course, there's definitely
no
some
bad
things I
blood.
miss about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no bad blood at all. Definitely not on my end, not even a little bit. Um so I think that it was just one of those things where it just was time.
S- So what?
Sometime. And I think that's just how it goes. I don't know if anyone should ever stay in the same job for like more than 5 years.
So when this passing the torch, how did you find your next person? Because it sounds like
Um
the bar was set pretty high for
it
someone you worked for three
was
and a half years.
it was set pretty high. Yeah. So I actually had a Moni, who is she kind of runs all my social media. She does Warp World social media stuff. She's
Does
very,
she
very
post for you, or she'd like get it to the finish line and you post it, or she?
she if you're seeing Twitter videos lately, she handles all that stuff on Twitter now,
So she'll let
like
it rip.
videos on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, she lets it rip. She has access to my accounts and everything. We have a deep amount of trust, me and Moni.
Yeah.
We've been working together in some form for a long time now. Um, we talk.
She
I
has the
know
keys to the
she
kingdom. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I trust her opinion because she's not someone who has ever, not once has she ever told me something was good when she didn't think it was good. Which that's something that I really love because that's something that's really hard to find is just people that will be honest with you about your own content. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you don't always make bangers and that's fine, you know what I mean? But if everyone tells you it's a banger, you're just gonna think, why is no one watching this? You know? Like,
No, that makes
um,
sense.
yeah, so
So your second
there's
YouTube editor, how did you?
yeah. So yeah, so I told her, I was like, yeah, I need to find some people. I know your ears to the streets. You know, give me a list of people. I'll give you a headhunter's fee if you find them in the traditional sense. If I end up going with someone you found. And I did. I went with someone. I actually two people. There were two people that she found. She gave me like a list of like, I don't know, I got like 10 resumes. 3 stuck out. I ended up interviewing 2 people. Both of them were amazing interviews. And the only reason I went with the person I went with was because he lived in America and the other person lived in Britain.
Just
And
for
so
like
it'd just be
time
easier.
zone?
Just be easier time zone, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But hindsight, I've hired that other girl to do all my social media edits now, and she's up all night anyway. It would have worked just fine. So I kind of felt bad to have made that decision. And she's incredible and spectacular, and I have no doubt. Like honestly, if my YouTube was to the point where I could have her and him at the same time, I would totally do it. I would love to do that, and where he could where I could give them both a full time legit salary, you
Yeah.
know? But right now it could only really do one full-time salary and realistic.
So your YouTube editor puts
Yeah,
out one video a day,
one video a day.
and it's just
And we do yeah, and then on social media, we do every other day on Instagram, every other day on Twitter, every day on TikTok. Yeah.
and you are completely hands off on
Hands off with
Instagram,
all of it.
Twitter, and TikTok.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. I
But
don't have any hands on any of it.
I know your wife. So I've
My
DM'd with
wife.
her on your
Yeah.
account. So like, so I want to talk
Her and
about
Moni
that.
DM a lot.
Yeah.
Her and Moni DM a lot now. Yeah.
So
Which is funny.
so talk about that because that's got to be cool. And I know we talked about a little bit on the interview on the other podcast, but to involve your wife in what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because it gives her a lot more knowledge of our industry, you know, our industry, because I think, especially when it first started to take over our lives, not just my life, because it takes over your your significant other's life too, this career.
Yeah.
There's really just no getting around it. She would feel like very you're sitting in a have you ever, you're sitting in a circle. I don't know if you've ever done this, but you're sitting in a circle with a bunch of people and they all work in the same place and you don't, and all they're talking about is that
Yeah.
sucks, right? You know what I mean? Like, have you ever hung out with a bunch of people that work in the same restaurants? All they talk about is working at that restaurant, shit like that. If you've ever been a Twitch streamer at any convention or anything at all, that's what it is. Everyone's just constantly talking about Twitch or video games or Mario or whatever it is. And as it started to consume our lives, it was hard. And I wouldn't say it wasn't, I don't want to say creating a gap in our relationship, but it was that's not us. You know what I mean? So when we first moved to Portland, and the idea was that she was going to take 2 months off of work and help me get everything settled, social media wise and just with life, and get our house taken care of and settled, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. And I can just stream and make the money and, take care of us for that time. And it got to the point where she was having a better time. She understood it more. She was getting lingo that, because when you become inundated on Twitch, the language you use starts to change. Start to say pog and lol and dumb stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, or you start to sound like a foreign person to other people. And she started to get all that, and just was just really working out for us. You know what I mean? It just worked out for us. So we were like, all right, let's do another month and another month, and it just kept going and going. And now I just can't see a situation where we would not just work together on this stuff. You know what I mean? And it, I don't know, keeps us happy and sane and together. And I don't know, it's very nice. It's very nice to have her involved. You know what I mean? Get to do it together.
I'd imagine it's like,
ways, yeah.
Not that it's not like this any other way, but it's like a dual win, right? Like when
It
things go well, it's like you both have a hand in it and it's both going well, whether it's just, not just, but being supportive, or if she's actually, on Instagram or doing whatever.
Yeah, it 100%. And it just helps us. It helps her understand too. Because I think streaming's hard to understand for people that don't do it. People don't understand how busy you are outside of actually just streaming. You know what I mean? They think like, all right, you're done streaming. Like, all right, feet up. Nothing else to do today. Like, I wish that's what it was.
What's when you're done? What are these other things that someone may be listening? Like, yeah, Grand POOBear or whatever, dude. Like, you stream Mario, dude, and then you're done, and you watch Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, first of all, there's like 100 emails like every day. Most of them are junk. Like, I'll be straight up honest. Most of those emails are junk. Like, they want their sponsorship you don't want to do, generally for Raid Shadow Legends. Things like that, but then there's also potential ones. For me, I'm running a tournament right now called Fall Mania.
That was on my list.
Yeah, that was, I figured we'd talk about it. But with that, I'm having to work with 16 personalities and a giant sponsor, make sure everyone's happy. Very hard, especially these like 16 personalities that they're all their own full-time streamers, all their own thing. They don't have to be doing this. They don't need the money. You know what I mean?
So I want to talk about that because you're not a stranger to events or live events, stemming from your background as MC or DJ to GDQ to doing your tours. But so now let's talk about Fall Mania, because I felt like that came out really quick. Like, it was like Fall Guys, bang. There wasn't like, oh, the game's been out for 3 months. Let's like tell me about what Fall Mania is and how, like, why you started it.
Fall Mania is a 16-man winner take all $5,000 tournament where literally one winner gets all the cash and second place gets nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's brutal. It's a brutal, long, like 6-hour event. It's rough. It's also 1v1v1v1. So 4 players are playing against each other in a group. But then they're also, of course, playing against all the other 56 random people who don't realize they're in a tournament right now, who don't realize they're playing in a tournament, which adds a whole, set of things that can happen. But I call it esports entertainment because the number one thing that it is that it isn't something that we treat in the serious manner that like League of Legends Worlds just happened or Dota happens or even Fortnite happens. Like we understand that Fall Guys is a funny, silly game and we treat it as such during that event. You know what I mean? We kind of treat it with like we have like very much like wrestling storylines where we encourage chat like this is our good guy and this is now our bad guy, you know what I mean? And we love to like let that go and it's really, really it creates really, really fun entertainment and
Why did you
beyond that,
start
just
it?
because the way I just started because I love Fall Guys. Like when Fall Guys came out, I just was like very into it, and I was like, all right, well, no one else is gonna do a big tournament. I'll do it myself. And I was like, I'll just put up $5,000 of my own money, and I have my buddy at Red Bull Production. I was like, yo, if Red Bull won't pony it up, will you restream this first one for free, and we'll figure out, we'll figure out the rest of
What do you
them
say?
past that.
What do you mean by restream?
Like he has a production studio and everything. So like he was gonna give me like the full all out production, like the full sexy production style.
Hmm.
And he, that was pretty clutch in it because everything if we do something, I don't want to half ass it. I want a whole ass it, for sure.
Hmm.
And that was also part of the absurdity of it was taking this completely non-competitive game and giving it this very over the top esport presentation. You know what I mean? That was part of what would make this event work. You know what I mean? Because people weren't going to just tune in for the hot Fall Guys competition because honestly, like the skill ceiling in Fall Guys is super low, and when you've seen one great player do it, like you've seen the same strats any great player is going to do. You know, so we had to just really sex the whole thing up and make it really kind of funny and entertaining in that way. And yeah, so that was kind of my idea, and that was my pitch for it. You know what I mean? That so I did my first one, and I was like, yo, I'll put up the prize money if you can do this production for free. And we'll see if we can get someone to pay for the second one, the third one, the fourth one. You know what I mean? Get season one and pay for you. Luckily, I pitched it. I pitched it to, of course, my people at Red Bull. I pitch everything to them right away. Any idea I have, I come to them right away. And I knew this one was going to be hard, not because they wouldn't be interested in it. It's actually something that's extremely up Red Bull's alley.
Hmm.
Red Bull likes to, have soapbox derbies and do fake cars off decks and fluke tag. Like they love shit like this. You know what I mean? Like it's right up their alley. It's just things tend to move really slow at any big corporation. You know what I mean? Like getting, saying like, hey, I need $50,000 for a series of events. It's not an easy write off for them. You know what I mean? Like even they, not that they can't afford it, they can swing the 50K. It's just like it's hard to get that approval, and it's got to go through so many channels. Once they realized that we were going to do one on our own, though, they were like, all right, we'll go ahead and pony up. So like the day before the first one, we got the full word that like we're getting 4 done.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, they would do 4. So tonight's the 4th, and after the end of the third one, I actually got word that we're getting another 4 ordered. It's been
It's like a
such a
Netflix
success. I've been so
series or
happy.
like a,
Like a
like,
Netflix,
yeah.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So we got like a season 2 ordered essentially of Fall Mania, which was really exciting and really fun. And now the scary part is, can the Fall Guys game itself stay relevant for another 8 weeks? You know what I mean? Like now I'm like relying on Mediatonic to like release new games, release updates, keep the player base happy. You know what I mean? Like that stuff. Like that's the issue I have now with it, which is kind of funny.
And I just want to throw in a weird flex for you here.
Yeah.
So from Fall Mania to your participation in Twitch Rivals, right? So
Mhm.
you won back to back to back. I don't want to. Did you? I know you won back to back. Did you win the third one?
We didn't win the third one. We made the finals and we lost to the eventual winners in the semis. Um, and of those winners, they're all playing in Fall Mania 4 or 5, just for the record. I respect the competition. You know what I mean? Not going to shade the competition. But the cool part about it was the clutch moment that happened came from my really good friend Dragon Feeney. She beat us in a 2-on-1 situation, which like straight in Twitch Rivals, like straight up, my team's only lost one other crown in the entire history of Twitch Rivals. In 3 tournaments before that, we had only lost 1 crown before, and she beat us back-to-back games for crowns. So like absolutely clutched it out. She absolutely clutched it out. Like they deserve to win.
Yeah, you can't be mad.
No. It's not. We didn't lose it. She earned it.
Yeah, it was like you misplayed or like hit the,
No. We played great. We did everything we could. She just played better. You know what I mean? And so you can't be like mad at that. Which was really. Plus, I just love her to death. Like she's really great. And yeah, I'm very proud of my skill level at Fall Guys, I guess. But I also wanted to just see like, who's the best week to week. And yeah, I don't know. It's just Fall Mania just kind of came about, and it's been really, really fun and exciting. And I think anyone who watches it can tell you, like, it's legitimately heart-pounding action, because every Fall Mania we've had has come down to less than 50 kudos, which is, just to put that in perspective, that's how much you get just for showing up to a round. So these big, long 6-hour tournaments come down to like literally nothing. They've come down to the last jump essentially every single time, and that's exciting as hell for a game where you instantly know what's going on. Like everybody knows. It's very easy to watch Fall Guys and like, oh, I get what's going on in this game. Whereas like watching League of Legends, like I don't know what's going on in League of Legends. I don't play League of Legends, so. Well, that's been like super, super helpful to the success of it, I think.
Well, as your friend, I've been like, watching things like from afar. And one of the common threads I see through your content is you're always doing something different or different events, whether it's Fall Mania or even something like Animal Crossing Survivor, or doing your podcast in Animal Crossing. Like you're always doing these creative ideas. Like for you, where does that come from, and how important that is to you, to what you do online?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, again, I recognize the likelihood of me being the absolute best at any one given thing is just very low. So if I can't be the best, I could be the only. And I think that there's just not much room in me wasting my time doing something else that's already been done.
Like
if I can't make a drastic improvement upon it, you know what I mean? Like I mean,
speed running for like 0.001 difference. It may cost you 1,000 hours, but it's not. Doesn't.
I mean, not even necessarily that, but like there are like speedruns that I wouldn't do just because like everything about that run's been said. All the excitement about it has been done. The big moments have been solved. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of I don't know what I want to say. Some sort of ability to make some type of history. I guess is maybe exciting or appealing to me. And I think that would be kind of my thought process there, is just like I don't want to do another iteration of something that somebody's already done, because we're already doing that. We're already just all playing video games in front of a camera, in front of a green screen, blah, blah, blah. Your background looks like my background.
I guess the word to put in your mouth is like original. You want to do something original, or is original?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe, and I don't even know if that's the right word, but just like worthwhile might be the word that I'm looking for. I want to do something worthwhile, I think, is the term I want.
Yeah, and that's something I always like admire about your content. Even, like the Survivor Animal Crossing thing. I'm like, dude, what a brilliant idea. And just, but just not the fact that you have the idea, but you execute it or participate in or come up with Fall Mania. You know what I mean? Like it's not, anyone can have an idea, but to follow it through and execute it, that's a difference maker.
Yeah, and I think that is a huge thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. Like, doing the thing is 90% of people's issue. I think, is doing the thing. Nobody gets rewarded for having an idea. You get rewarded for doing an idea. And chances are, how often do you see something and then your buddy's like, you see something on TV, a commercial or something, your buddy's like, I had that idea 3 years ago. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, motherfucker, you didn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you had that idea. Maybe you said that idea out loud at a bar and that guy heard it and he went and did it. And now look at him. He's the inventor of the triple spatula.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Dude, you maybe just gave away one of your next $1 million.
I know. You know, my buddy Jakku has a podcast called I Got One, and that's literally all they do is it's like silly business ideas. And the whole idea, the base, what they do in the podcast is like, we're already so busy, we can't do all these business ideas, so we're gonna give them to you guys to do, which is really funny. And some of them are really bad, but some of them actually become businesses. Some of them actually become businesses from listeners.
Really?
Successful businesses, yeah, which is even funnier, you know what I mean? So it's like Shark Tank, except nobody's giving you money.
Well, and I do want to bring this up because I didn't want to end things without talking about it. So you have your events, you have your live stream, you have all your content that you oversee. You're not, you have editors. So you essentially have this, let's call it a company, right? And then outside of that, you have another company, like a software company. Let's call it software. Right?
Yeah, we're a software company.
So
I mean, that'd be what we like to call what we say is we make cool shit.
Okay.
That's what we like to say is we make cool shit. And our basis for our company is make cool shit for streamers or make cool shit that we would use ourselves.
So and I'm gonna put these words in your mouth because you said before, like, you used to have a job and then you had a side hustle that was like blow up, which means your job was like you were a DJ and then your side hustle was Twitch. It has a chance to blow up. Now, let me put these words in your mouth. Tell me if I'm accurate. Now your job is Twitch. Is that your side hustle?
Yes, absolutely. That is 100% my side hustle. And I will say it's quickly becoming, it's both outgrowing what I can give to it right now in a lot of ways, as it's becoming a went from a last year, it went from 3 years ago being an absolute just side hustle kind of thing that we were doing to make cool stuff and not lose money. You know what I mean? Have like, here's our business expenses. And then last year we got a very small investment, and we in turn invested in crowd control and made crowd control a thing. And that became the #1 bits enabled extension on Twitch. We make more money. Crowd control makes more money than any other extension on Twitch.
And explain what it is for someone that's
so if you never heard of crowd control, and this is what's cool is that most people now have heard of it on Twitch, but crowd control is an extension which allows viewers to live alter your game in real time, and they can do that with money. And you can set how much money it costs. But like, just to give an example, let's say Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. You can speed up Link. You can make the whole area ice. You could take away arrows. You could add arrows. You could give him a bigger sword. You could take away his sword. You can do all sorts of different things. Make it one-hit KO. You can kill him outright if you want for a certain price. Usually streamers charge like $50 and you just kill them outright. There is a ton of ways where chat can help you or harm you. We've noticed they generally harm. I don't know if you know this about Twitch chat, but they generally are going to try to make things harder on you. And it makes for a really, really fun, cool, interactive experience between you and your viewers. We support, the beginning of this year, I think we supported 5 games, and now we're supporting well over 30. By the end of the year, it's likely we're going to have well over 60. We support Fall Guys right now with a lot of cool effects. And the cool thing about Fall Guys is, like, it's an online game. None of our effects will get you banned or hurt or anything because we made them all negative effects. So none of them can help you. They're all going to just screw you over. You know what I mean? So we do things. We have a Minecraft version that's super popular. The Minecraft streamers absolutely love it. You can spawn dragons and all sorts of creatures, and your build materials and just all sorts of great things in that one. That one's definitely really popular. We have Dark Souls 1 and 3, which have a lot of cool things in there. We go back and we add new effects to games. You know what I mean? Once we notice, like, oh, this game hasn't been played for a while, let's spruce it up a bit, add some new effects to it, make it fun and new again. And that's really huge for what we do. That's a big part of our business this year. But to give an example of, we want to make cool shit in something, or we want to make cool shit, or we want to make stuff that we're going to use. Our new biggest product this year is this thing called Turnip Exchange. And Turnip Exchange is a website where people can go to either post their island code because they have good turnip prices on Animal Crossing, or sell their turnips on someone else's island to make a lot of fake money in Animal Crossing. Well, we made this website. So literally this website got made so me and Jakku, the other co-owner, could sell our turnips for a lot of money and not have to do much work on it. You know what I mean? Because we wanted money for Animal Crossing. Well, it just it blew up. Like the first week we got, it went the first day, it was like,
I saw an article about
viewers.
that. Did someone write an article about? Yeah.
Oh, tons of them. Yeah, we were in Vice. We had tons of articles all over the place. Polygon wrote about us like 100 times. KFC, unbeknownst to us, used us for an advertising thing. But come to our island, here it is, Turnip Exchange. A lot of companies started doing this. We actually have an event coming up with the company next week where they're running ads on our, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is yet, so I'm gonna try and be vague.
Yeah.
But they're running ads on our website, which will link to their Turnip Exchange island queue, and you can go to their island and they're buying your turnips for more than they could ever be bought in the game. Like that. It's a.
But I want to talk about this because your idea, so
Yeah.
it's Turnip Exchange. It started just, hey, let's just
Wasn't
make
my
this.
idea. I should really express. This was 100% Jakku's idea, and the whole idea was just so we could make it really easy on us to buy and sell turnips, so we could make really fancy islands on Animal Crossing.
That's fair. But there was was there any monetization plan? It was just, hey, let's just make this cool and see what happens.
No. We were just
so
like,
let's
make it cool, see what happens. So then it became big. Like we're getting 100,000 users a day. $1.5 million a week. Like we're getting.
Did Nintendo call you and be like, shut this down, or like?
No, because something we're very big on is like we read your terms of service. We read the game's terms of service that we're on, and so with Turnip Exchange, we don't store any of your information. We don't give any of your information. We just get your code, and with your code, we can tell through a completely legal way how many people are on your island. So when someone leaves your island, we just give the code to the next person. And so we're not clogging any lines. Like it's a very, very simple thing. And we were just, we're the first ones to do it. We had a nice, pretty website to go along with it.
Well, the name's great, Turnip Exchange. I play a little bit of Animal Crossing, but I know what you would do on that website.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so we just quickly within a week of being out, it wasn't just like it went viral. It was like, it didn't become like a viral thing. It became like a standard thing for Animal Crossing players. It's like every Sunday. And what was cool is like, you could see it like on Sunday, we would get a tremendous amount of traffic because people were buying turnips and trying to sell them right away. And it would slowly go down until Friday where people realized, oh shit, I got to sell my turnips. And then it would slowly go back up to the big peak on Sunday. And you could see it. And it's been like that literally ever since we started the website. And of course, the popularity of the game's gone down. So the website popularity has gone down, but you still see it every single week where it just goes boop, 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 boop. And with that being said, we still have a very robust community that uses it. It's turned into it's warped from being like a site for just people buying and selling turnips. Now they use it for like crafting sales, like where they're making items for other people, or they call them garage sales or lawn sales in there. It's just like anything you want to organize people coming to your island for, you can do it on Turnip Exchange. And so eventually we opened a Patreon because like people were like, hey, I'll pay you to get in line earlier. I'll pay you to have my island higher queue line. You know what I mean? And first we were like, we want to do that, but we did it.
Why was there some hesitation? Pay to win? Like what it was?
I think we just we're always wanting to be very careful with how we monetize humans' fun, because that's essentially what we're doing, is we're monetizing your fun. You know what I mean? And in my mind, it's always better to get a big company to monetize your fun for you. Like that's my logic, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's way better. it's way better to have Red Bull pay for Fall Mania than have me pay for Fall Mania, right? Like
Mhm.
it's way less risk for them, you know. And I just want to be. I think we owe more to. It's just I think there's an extra layer of responsibility when it comes to that. There's an extra layer of responsibility. We didn't know where Turnip Exchange was gonna go. You know what I mean? We didn't know
Yeah.
how it was gonna how like the ultimate ending of it. But it's been great. Our Patreon has stayed super steady. You know, we're at about 75% from our absolute peak of it still.
What made
People
you
use
what made you say, okay, let's do a Patreon? Because if that's the antithesis to how
yeah.
you normally operate. Was there
Mm,
just such a demand? You're like, we got to do this, or it's dumb, or it's dumb
we
not to.
well the number one thing was that we as a website when we expected maybe 5,000 people a week, we can eat that cost. A website that was getting 1.5 million people a week was not a
That costs
cost.
money. Yeah.
We were not in a situation. We for the number one thing was we got to a point where we were like, all right, guys, we have to turn off Turnip Exchange next month. We literally have to turn it off, or we have to limit how many people can come on it, or we can't, or it's literally going to run our company broke. Like it was 1 month, it took all the profits that we made on um on a crowd control. It basically sucked all of those and then
And I
some. You
imagine
know what I mean?
when you put that message out, people are like, "No, we love this. What can we do to keep it open?" Is that the response?
Yeah, and we and to be and to our credit, we were super open and honest about it. We were like, "Here's our server costs. Here's how many people we're getting. Here's what it's costing us. We're a company that employs 0 people. You know what I mean? Like, they would just have no money to do this. Like, this is just an impossible thing. It's an impossible situation for us, and we were very open and honest. Here's what you'll get. You know, if you become a Patreon, here's why we think it's beneficial for you. And we just kind of laid it all out there for them, and we had a incredible, incredible, ridiculous, tremendous response for it. And a response that grew month over month over month for up until August, and now it started to go back down. But the last 2 months, it's just been basically steady. And we found that people have now, Turnip Exchange has transformed into from a place for people to buy and sell turnips to a community stopping spot for people who play Animal Crossing.
So if you're in Animal Crossing and you say Tournament Exchange, everyone knows what it is. If you're
They know what it
into
is, yeah.
Animal Crossing, or you're gonna find out very soon.
One way or another, you're probably gonna end up on Turnip Exchange one way or another. Because
be on Reddit,
someone's
could
gonna
be on someone's YouTube video, could be
exactly.
It's out there.
Exactly. Maybe you need something crafted from someone, or someone's selling something that you need. Generally, they're going to go through Turnip Exchange because it gives a nice nice layer of is it like a layer of privacy between players? You know what I mean? A nice layer of privacy between players. And it's still allowing business to be done. And granted, you got to keep in mind, this is all we don't have a way to stop scammers. We don't have a way to stop, someone saying we've got $10,000 turnip prices, and we don't have a way to judge that. So the community literally just does it themselves. They'll that we have a voting process in our Discord every time an island gets up, and when it's a scam island, the votes start being the little puke mouthy symbol. And when it's a good island, they'll emote GOOD and then upvote that, and it's really funny to see how the community has evolved and reacted and policed itself in those ways. And that's become a situation where we get to be very hands off with it. And as Animal Crossing updates, they added the Dreams feature, we added a Dreams feature for our website. You know what I mean? And as that game updates, we'll continue supporting it and continue supporting the community. But I'm very self-sufficient, very self-reliant, and that's something though that we never thought would be a hitter for us at all. You know what I mean? And it ends up being our biggest hitter of the year by far, and has been a huge revenue driver for us. Not just in the Patreon, but running ads on our website. You get a million views a week. If you get a million views a week, you do pretty good on those things. You know what I mean? And what that has allowed us to do is we reinvest everything right back into the company.
Yeah.
Add more people, add more features, hire people that have been working for the love for, you know what I mean? Just doing it out of the passion. getting them, now it's a full-time job for them, you know what I mean? And getting them, now they get to work on something they love to do for a company that they love and
Yeah,
trust
like, hey, my full-time
have
job is,
ownership over.
yeah, my full-time job is I get to work on an Animal Crossing
Yeah.
utility database that everyone loves. Like, if you're an
Yeah. I
Animal
mean,
Crossing fan, that's probably the best job in the world.
yeah, I think right now we're at 2 full-time. I think by the end of this year, we should have a couple more. And hopefully by next year, we're going to have a full squad team, like everyone that's been working with us. The goal is to, get them all, full blown out real gigs, you know what I mean? And good, these are good competitive jobs. Like we're not an underpaying company. It's something like me, Jakku, and Xwater have always really believed in is paying people what they're owed, and so it's fun and exciting, and and who knows, like maybe one day Twitch will buy it for $30 million. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. My prediction was for Turnip Exchange. Either Nintendo knocks on the door and says, "Hey, here's your check," or
I'd love it.
5 years from now, when the next Animal Crossing comes out, they copy your idea. But still, it's gonna be 5 years of you running it. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Well, what's what's funny for Turnip, we did the same thing with Mario Maker 1, because they didn't have a good search feature for Mario Maker 1. So we made this website called Makers of Mario, which I don't even know if it's still around. I don't know if we took this down or not. Makersofmario.com. We made this website for, no, it's down. But it was basically like yeah, we took a Wii U and we started scanning every single level that had ever been existed. So we'd have the data of every level that had ever existed. And we started like 2 months earlier before we launched the website. And then we put that data into a website so people could search for a level by name, which you still can't do that in Mario Maker 2. You still can't search for a level by name in Mario Maker 2. How ridiculous is that? But we gave people like access to do all those things. And granted, it was probably too late for Mario Maker, but I've always thought that was such an amazing thing, that we did. And so it's just kind of applying those ideas to, what does a community need? Like, how can we make it better? What hole does this community have? And can we plug that hole? If so, great. We'll worry about how it makes money later. Because if it's a hit, and we need it to make, if it's a hit and we can't afford it, it'll make its money. You know what I mean? Like if it's something that it's so popular that we can't afford to do it for free, it'll be fine. It'll make its money one way or another. People will support it. People can't live without it at that point, whatever. We're not worried about that. And if it's not a hit and it's just fun and a few people really, really love it, does it really matter if it makes money? You know what I mean? Because if it's only costing us, $100 a month, that's whatever, you know what I mean? We might gain that back on the next product that this guy trusts us with because we kept this other product that they used open for so long, so it's not and I think that's a very unique perspective to have. I don't think a lot of companies
it's inverted. It's like, hey, how do we make money? And then,
exactly.
It shows why you've had success.
Yeah, we're very much, how can we make this as cool and as useful as possible? And once this is super cool and super useful to the point where it's just costing us because it's so cool and useful, you know what I mean? So many people are using it. Then we figure out what's the best way to monetize. And not only that, but like because not every product that we're going to have is going to like the same, like a Patreon wouldn't work for crowd control the same way that it works for.
It's not really community driven. It's
exactly.
Streamer driven. I get it.
Exactly. So you know what I mean? And we also have to make sure that we're paying attention and doing it in the smart, right, correct way. Yeah.
So as we wrap up stuff here, and dude, I could talk to you for another 5 hours. Like really could.
We could go for days, man. I got all day. Well,
so I got two things for you. One, I want to change your Grand POOBear, the People's Speedrunner. I want to change your Chiron. Okay, Grand POOBear, the People's Speedrunner, and gaming entrepreneur.
Gaming entrepreneur.
Here, or maker of cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Maker of cool shit. I like maker of cool shit.
Because that's a whole different part of what you do. That's but you fuel that through what you do every day. You know what I mean? Like your creativity and I know you have Jakku and other people.
I want to be really clear. Jakku makes the cool shit. I just nudge him in thinking like I do no dev work. I am not a dev at all.
Well, you don't have time. What kind of time do you have to do that?
Well, not even that. Like I don't have any skill to do
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anything about coding at all. And I'm lucky to be surrounded by some of the most incredible coders in in what they do. Jakku's he's a world-class white hat hacker already. Like he's so talented at what he does already. And it's so it's so fun to be around these people. But I think that's why it works. Like we vibe off each other very well. Like I have a good idea, I'll have an idea or he has an idea and we bounce it off each other until it works. And then he'll work on it. And then we have this big joke that it has to be poo proof. So if we do anything, the setup has to be easy enough for me to get it because I'm a dummy. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's like a really huge thing. So because I don't know if you've ever worked with like developers or coders, but like they make it and it makes sense to them. But then when you go to try and use it, it does, you know what I mean? There's like 14 steps and after 5 steps, nobody does anything. So yeah, it's just a thing where we just all work together. There's really good synergy between us.
So as we wrap here, I want to ask you one final question. You've done a lot, you're involved in a lot, and you've been successful through it all. I mean, it's been a grind, it hasn't been easy. You figure stuff out. But if you were to point, someone's watching right now and like, hey, I want to stream, I want to find a way to make it. What could you physically boil down to, like a couple things, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, like physical things someone can do that you think would put them in a position or better position to make it as a streamer?
The number one thing is you can't, and this is a harsh reality. Playing one of the top 5 games right now, like say Among Us, Fortnite, let's say League, Dota, one of those games, is utterly pointless right now. Unless you are a pro player. Those games are so top heavy. If you let's say have 10 viewers, the way Twitch works, people get the top most viewed stream on top, least viewed stream on bottom. If you only have 10 viewers, how many pages are they going to have to scroll down in Among Us to get to you? You know what I mean? How is anyone going to how is anyone going to click on your stream if they have to scroll down 10 pages? That's you're banking on so much luck right there. Whereas, let's say you are those same 10 viewers, you're the number 4 stream on Mario Maker. Still a healthy community, not 100,000 viewers healthy. But let's say it's got, 5,000 viewers split between 20 streams. That's a lot better than 100,000 viewers split between 5,000 streams, And so picking games that are popular, but maybe are underserved streaming wise is definitely going to help you in a pure viewership number standpoint. And it's going to help you get noticed a lot more. And I'd say even for me, I think that same thing. I don't think I was a different streamer with Rust than I was with Mario Maker. I don't think I was a different streamer with DayZ than I was with Mario Maker. And those games were way more popular. They had more people watching them than Mario Maker ever had. But it was a lot easier for me to make waves in the Mario Maker community. It was a lot easier for me to make a name for myself in that Mario Maker community. And luckily, Mario was respected enough that, once people were like, oh, he's a God Mario player, that respect would translate to other communities too. You know what I mean? So don't think that Fortnite, I know you're great at Fortnite. You sit at home, you win every game. It doesn't matter. It's not going to get you going because no one's ever going to be able to find you. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to put you on the spot live on this one. Can you pull up Twitch and be like, if I were starting and like square one, this would be one that to me using using all your experience as streaming and like, all right, this would be one that I could identify right now. That would be.
Okay, well, first of all, anything new, you're going to have a good deal. I think Tarkov is actually one of those communities, and I think you would probably agree 100%,
with that. 1,000,000%.
Tarkov is it's big enough. It's a big enough game where people watch it, but not a ton of people play it. because it's very hard, very difficult. And I also think it's a game where if you can make a name for yourself with a couple clips where people are going to watch you and want to gain some of that knowledge off of you. I think that's a really good one. I think Dead by Daylight is a really good community for that to work off of. Um, let's see. Let's see here. I think, oh man, right now, let's see. Rogue Company, that's a new game. You could get a little bit of name. I don't think that's going to be a long lasting thing. I think Hades is a very popular game right now that you can make a little bit of name off of, especially with if you're a really great player at it, it gets a lot of drop-in big streamers. And those big streamers viewers, once they're off, are going to want to go and watch more Hades, right? You know what I mean? If you're one of the great players at that, you can pick up a lot of extra viewers from that one.
And I mean,
I think
this is great intel, and there's nothing that's a surefire thing, but I don't want to cut you up, but like things that you're doing now gives you a better chance of success than, like you said, like Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of this weird thing where you almost have to, in order to play any of the top 5 games now, you kind of got to cut your teeth on a much lower game. You really, really have to. Unless you saw Among Us being the hit game that it was a year ago. You know what I mean? And you've just were there the whole time it was getting big, and you rode that wave. It doesn't usually happen like that. Most people don't have that foresight. Unless you were playing Phasmophobia day one, you know what I mean? There's not going to be a lot of opportunity there to get it. Like the GTA 5 roleplay, that's such a hard thing to break into. Fortnite is so established. It's so difficult to break into. League and Dota, so established, so difficult to break into. Even something like Valorant, when it came out, all the people that are getting all the love in Valorant are all old CSGO players and all old, you know what I mean? All those guys. When Mario 35 even came out, it's just sucking down. All the Mario Maker players are getting to leak all that. They're getting the benefit from all that. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to find like these new genres almost that aren't being gobbled up by the gigantor streamers in some ways. You want to hit 1 or 2 gigantic streamers in your community. Splunky is actually a really great community right now for it. I know a lot of guys have seen their viewership go way up with Splunky too, because you have guys like me, guys like Alpha Rad, guys like Dan Gheesling in there, you know what I mean, playing this game. And then when they're done, these viewers are like, well, I still want to watch Splunky content. And they're going and hitting up your Twigglesofts, your Hectiques, these guys that are on the verge, but are really, really great at the game and have so much knowledge of this game that they can give you something and keep you entertained, you know what I mean? And it's making new stars out of that. Like Twigglesoft, who did spoiler thing yesterday, is riding this tremendous wave right now, you know what I mean? When Splunky 1 was playing 2-3 weeks ago, the dude's getting 4 viewers, and now he's streaming to 1,000 people a day. You know what I mean? Those are taking advantage of those situations, you know what I mean, or where it's at. And sometimes that is waiting for your game sequel. Like that can just be like all the Rocket League guys, all the guys that are popular in Rocket League now, what was that game that was before Rocket League? There was another soccer ball game made by the same guys that was before Rocket League. But all those guys basically were just grinding away at that game for years and years and years. And then when Rocket League 2 came out, they were set up for their success. You know what I mean? They were already ahead of the game. So it's hard. It's hard to pick like which I think game is going to be it.
Yeah,
that is what you need to do.
I think you hit it. It's like picking the right one. Yeah.
Yo, you know what a really good one is? Chess. Chess right now that's a really good one right now, because you get like XQC goes in there, you get Lupo, Lyric every once in a while playing chess, and they bop out. That's actually a really good one right now.
So and I think the hard part is picking the game, but I think listening to what you just said, here's a tool set. You're gonna have to mess with it, but there's a great place to start, right? So sometimes you see someone streaming like a 7-year-old game, and they're streaming it every day, and you're like, you don't want to tell that person like that's not it, but
yeah,
because who knows? I mean, maybe whatever makes a comeback.
And that's what it is. It's hard, and it is also hard. And I think the other hard part about Twitch is like the more you try to understand Twitch, the less you kind of do. You really do, because sometimes you just don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, Among Us was sitting underneath all of our noses for years. You know what I mean? And now it's the biggest game that we've ever seen on Twitch, you know what I mean? And it's so wild to think those things, you know, and it's just crazy how it is. I think I'll say this, I think Latin America seems to be ahead of the curves more than we are.
In what way?
So look at what Latin American streamers Latin America hit Among Us before us. Latin America hit Fortnite slightly before our streamers did. Latin America hit GTA 5 roleplay before us. You know what I mean? I feel like for whatever reason, Latin American streamers have their eyes on the trends a bit more. So I've been paying a bit more attention to what the big Latin American streamers are doing in general. And a lot of them are on YouTube stuff, but they seem to have something. They seem to be trend setters more than trend wise. And I think you might even be seeing that just like in music and everything else right now. Like it's like kind of like Latin America's kind of, you know, having this moment of dominance, you know what I mean? Where they're kind of setting trends instead of.
Dude, you're pulling the curtain way back. Like I'm seeing Grand POOBear in like the white room, like with the whiteboards being like, all right, here's kind of the strategizing, here's some move. But dude,
well, I like to see that even if it's not going to affect even if it doesn't affect what I'm gonna play, I like to see what games are starting to do well. And I always look at the browse list on Twitch. Like I try to check it at least once or twice a week just to see like what game is getting up there. Like Raft right now is a game that's having a little bit of a moment. The funny part about that, it's like a 5-year-old game. You know what I mean? But it's having this moment of coming back where people are rediscovering it and coming back on. So yeah, I don't know. I think those are just it's hard.
Well,
streaming's hard.
Well, but I think like it's been such a pleasure to have you on, and I'm glad you came on because like you bring all this wealth and different perspective on how you've made. Everyone makes a different. Hit it.
Yo, you know the best one? Genshin Impact might be the best one right now, actually.
I've seen people streaming it. I've never clicked it because I don't know how to pronounce it. But what is it? Yeah.
That one, it's like a free-to-play kind of Zelda-ish knockoff in some ways. Like Breath of the Wild kind of knockoff, but with like loot boxes. So it like hits that like everyone loves to watch people gamble. Aspect, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you know card openings, you know how pack openings are. They're fun as hell.
I'm playing this game for it's 1,000 spooky doors or something, and like I can't stop playing it. You open 1,000 doors and that's it. But I just can't stop playing it. I don't know why. It's just, but it's like that. There's that element of just, hey, what's behind this door and what's behind this. And I think that's a great thing about. I mean, you and I can talk about Splunky too. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's just
100%.
Yeah,
with Splunky too. Yeah.
So. You have a outstanding invite to come back whenever you want, but man, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, baby.
Dude, I've got notes on notes on notes, and then like I sometimes I kind of pretend I'm like, yeah, like the people want to know, like, hey, what do you like, dude? I'm sitting here taking notes. The second we're done, I'm like, all right, here's where Grand POOBear did this, you know, like it's kind of like I joke about this with Northern Lion a lot and Ryan a lot. Is I say like iron sharpens iron. Like when you're around other people doing stuff. It's not copying. It's like you inspire people to do things. And I mean, definitely you inspired me to do stuff. And I know people listening, whether it's in streaming, out of streaming.
You inspire me too, Dan. You inspire me too, Dan. You know, whenever I always say, like, I'm channeling my inner Dan Gheesling, you know, like, I've had like 3 versions of my own funeral, you know, on there. Like, I love it, you know. I still have all my Tarkov stuff from when we played. I played another session, still didn't die. I still got my same headphones on that you gave me.
When you talked about playing, you know, Atlas and, you know, Arma, I'm like, dude, if you love those games, like this is the best version of that of all time.
Every moment I've had in Tarkov has been it's some of the most heart racing gaming moments I have. Like I think it's the same thing. It's the same way Splunky hits in that every decision you make is so vitally important, and the decision you make now, you might not realize it might be the thing that kills you in 10 minutes, you know. And that's something that I really, really love about those games and those experiences. And I think that's one of the reasons why they both work so well on Twitch.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm beyond everything. I'm so glad like we connected, man. Someone asked in chat, like, how did we meet? I'm like, I don't know, but
I think it's just through Maker, and I've been a Dan Gheesling nerd fan for a while. So when you finally hit me up, when you knew who I was like, oh, I'm befriending him now. He's not gonna have a choice, you know. Like I am making friends with this man.
I'm gonna make this blanket statement right now. This is not the last time you've seen Grand POOBear and Check the Wire. I'm just telling you, like, you have so much going on, man, and it's amazing to see how many different ways you take what you do, you know, and you learn from and execute on. And dude, thanks so much for coming on, man. So people listening right now, can you tell them where to find you, your stream schedule, and all that, and what they can expect when they watch you?
Yeah. Grand POOBear. I am on every day except Sundays, and I get on like, I don't know. There's a new game that I want to play like 9, 10-ish in the morning. Otherwise, like 11 noonish.
Right?
Pacific time. Yeah, Pacific time. I play whatever the F I want to that day, and that's how it'll always be. Luckily though, usually whatever the F I want to is going to go over many multiple days because I try to get good. I love getting to do this. I'm super happy to get to do this. Watch me or don't, whatever. It's your choice, man. You got a lot of shit to do. I know stuff. I know you're a busy person, so
final question.
Yeah. But do watch Fall Mania. Wednesday, every other Wednesday. Tonight, the 14th. I don't know when this is going out on the YouTubes, but tonight, the 14th, is going to be one. The next one will be the 28th. Watch Fall Mania every other Wednesday, 4:00 PDT. It's seriously, if you like video game tournaments and video game events, I can promise you will love this one. It even if you just kind of moderately like Fall Guys, I can promise you this event is fun and really off the chain, and we make it very entertaining for the viewers.
Twitch.tv/GrandPOOBear.
Grand POOBear, yes.
Okay, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
7 p.m. Eastern, yes.
Okay. Last question: when are you moving back to Michigan?
I will never ever go back.
His outstanding invite just got revoked. Just joking. You have fiber. Yeah. I don't have fiber. You have fiber. Right?
I tell you right now, I miss my family dearly, but the farther west I've gone, like the happier, the more I've enjoyed things, and I just don't. It's
a whole sunlight, nice weather thing. I mean, who would put two and two together? You know that
it is, and I'm even in the Pacific Northwest, which I wouldn't say is like nice weather, but summers are just, oh man, dude, you remember, I can't even tell you the last time I bit by a mosquito. Like, come on, man, you know, like Michigan's just, I love Michigan. I love the people in Michigan. I love Detroit specifically, Detroit versus everybody. Like, I truly believe in that, and like there's something about like the hard edge that Michigan gives you, and specifically like Detroit and the surrounding areas. It gives you like this kind of edge that I love that I have, but I'm edged enough. I don't need it. I don't need any more edge. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on, man. It was a pleasure, and you know, good luck with Fall Mania. Though I'm gonna say you don't need it because you know you're the guy.
It'll be good.
But if you're watching, listen, on the radar, probably not in the near future. We got some Splunky duos coming once I catch up to you. And the online multiplayer works.
I'm just ready for online multiplayer. I'm part of me was glad it took a little while so I could discover everything, but
I just want to tell you where I'm at so you know how far behind I am.
Okay.
Discovered tablet, think I know what to do with it, or what to get. Know how to get sword, I don't know what to do with it. So that's where I'm at. So like if you had to say how far behind you I am, like
okay, once you discover what the tablet does, and when you say you're pretty sure you know, that means I know
what to get. I don't know what to do with what I get. That's where I'm at, and I haven't been able to get what I need to get yet.
You know, what do you get with the tablet then?
So no spoilers. So I read the tablet. You get the dowel. I haven't got to the point where I can get to the dowel to grab it. So I don't know if I take it and something happens. If I take it, I got to put it. I don't know it because Derek, you always kills me when I get to that point. But that's a whole nother story.
That's fair.
Yeah.
How many times, dude? I've gotten crushed by an elevator in that room like 3 times. It's the most embarrassing death. But you know, I will say that
I'm close.
You're a lot of things will become very obvious.
Okay.
Once you grab that guy, take him out of that room, and
I got
go
you.
about your business.
Gotcha.
A lot of things you're gonna be like, oh. There's gonna be a lot of that all at once, and then you'll get into World 7.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna ruin it, but
right,
like you'll get into World. The last secret will also be like, oh, I get that now too.
Okay.
It'll all come together. Yeah.
Check the wire. Special guest co-host Grand POOBear. Check him out, twitch.tv/GrandPOOBear. Fall Mania every other Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Dude, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Anytime, Matt. Anytime.